Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Yes, welcome to Couch Pilots, all of my friends, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, a.k.a. the Black Shack Attack, and across from me is my captain and yours. His name is Philip Rassisher. Evening, Captain.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's a Monday night. Nothing I look forward to. I spend the whole day doing the shit that I don't want to do just so I can have a clear mind, clear body, get up in this cockpit with you, just really get in that cockpit and go to destinations unknown.
All roads lead to Couch Pilots, right?
I think that's what Trump's wanting to do. He's wanting to make all roads lead to Couch Pilots.
He sees the big picture. We're on board.
He called last week and left a message, so I called him back. And he wants to be invited to CouchCon 2017 in October 17th, but I'm not really sure if that's the best way for us to go for our fan base.
I was going to say, you and I have always talked about not being political,
right?
Not getting religion involved with the podcast.
Don't talk about religion. Mm-hmm. Don't talk about sex. Mm-hmm.
That was Salt and Pepper.
That was Salt and Pepper. Politics.
Don't talk about sex, baby. Don't talk about you and me, right?
Exactly. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion,
yeah,
and don't talk about Her.
That's right. The movie Her?
No, I love that movie. We can talk about it for hours.
Okay.
I think about doing a podcast. And by the way, I wanted to let you know something that you're going to be really, really happy about. I know you have Hulu.
I love being happy, yes.
Golden Girls, the whole series is coming out on Hulu. There's no reason you can say no right now.
Boy. You know what I did just watch on Hulu? I just watched Baskets. You ever see that shit?
I saw the first season.
That's very good.
Yeah, the second season's already in the middle in the regular cable. So
yeah. I wanted to watch because of Louis C.K. Okay, so I was interested for Louis C.K. I watched because of Zach Galifianakis. I stayed for Louis Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he is phenomenal.
Oh, definitely phenomenal. He's coming to Bloomington.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's smart. It's smart for him to tour now after the success of that show. Very smart. Something else that is smart is every once in a while getting a third party on the airplane here.
Right. We have a lot of listeners that cash in their frequent flyer points. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are fucking sandbagging them and keeping them in a big, huge pot.
Which I can understand. Yeah, they want to piss. They for some reason want to get a physical amalgamation of all of their frequent flyer points and then pee on them. Mm-hmm. I don't understand the logic there, but it does happen apparently.
It would be a cool porn to watch.
It's like a German fetish film. Sorry, Biggie. Let's turn our attention to not only a guest, but a repeat guest. We don't have very many repeat guests, but this is one of them.
Yeah, there's a reason why.
Let's welcome back to the program. His name is Matthew.
Yes, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Wow.
Good to be here.
Matthew, you're here for some reasons that I think you want to expound on a little bit. Is that right?
No, I am. As a matter of fact, I thought I could do this through social media or other channels like that, but I thought, what better way than in person and get an answer straight from you gentlemen. I got some correspondence in the mail addressed to me. It actually said, if I may, I'm going to read this here.
Please.
Dear valued flyer, this correspondence is to inform you that your account is in the arrears. It actually said your arrears, and I didn't know. I changed it to the because I thought...
For the layperson, that does help.
DSJ types up all of our correspondence, so that could have been...
He uses an old Bell & Howell typewriter that is not always the most efficient either.
No, I thought it was some kind of suggestion. It said your arrears, and I thought someone...
Well, we did say the last time when you were getting off the plane about how you had a really nice butt.
Yeah.
And so,
It plays into that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we don't want to embarrass you and make you blush or anything.
Blush.
But
we don't want to talk about politics or religion or sex.
I don't want to blush on radio. Yes. Please remit payment immediately in the form of gold bullions. I don't get that.
The cubes, you put them in water and it tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Or beef.
But those. That sounds right.
Did you bring any?
We need it to pay for a wedding gift for big
penis. T.
T.
Big Dick T.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't. It doesn't feel like. So it started off really professional, and then it got into some.
Yeah, it devolves quickly. I can see
personal.
Yeah, and I honestly, I almost wish you would have mentioned this off air. This seems like again
we could have taken care of this.
This is 2 weeks in a row we're airing a lot of dirty laundry. But yes, proceed. We're already knee deep in it.
That's actually, and then it trails off. Looks like someone might have fallen asleep on the keyboard, and
DSJ.
That was
DSJ. Yeah. Yeah. How many times have you woken him up and he's got like a key stuck to his forehead?
Oh, there was one time. He had 3 or 4 letters just randomly just like embedded into
Cordy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was the R, and I don't know. I was reading way too much. Now, I don't have any goal. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Wow, Big Dick T needs because we need to get him a present. Him and Lori Garcia.
You know, it's January, right? It's the end of January, and come October, CouchCon. Right. All right, it's going to be here before we know it. It's smart for us to try to gather the necessary accoutrement ahead of time, such as gold bullions or whatever you need to make soup or get a good stock going, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You put a ham bone in there.
Oh, sure, put a ham bone
in there.
Baby,
I got a stew going.
That's right. Do you have anything else that you want to bring to our attention?
Well, no, it's just, like I said, it's good to be here. I really, that was what I had. It was a very short note, and I guess we kind of cleared it up. Do I owe anything?
Well, I mean, all right, man, we're having some trouble. Okay. All right,
this is why you're here.
We plan this big, huge, CouchCon. It's like a Comic-Con, but for the show. And
I think we bit off more than we can chew.
We bit off a big part of our side of our lip.
Yeah,
and we're gushing with blood right now, and.
We're hemorrhaging funds.
You're bleeding out.
Right, and so we've had a few people on the show.
Okay.
None has been as impressive as you, believe me.
Generous.
In preparation, looks.
In preparation H.
And buttocks.
For his buttocks.
And we know that, you have some money.
He stowed away a few shekels.
He's, building a house.
You guys just could have asked. I mean,
we're embarrassed.
But in this way, we put you on the spot.
No, but
for hundreds of listeners today.
You said DSJ was the one who was writing this.
Yeah, I take some notes like, hey, write this person. We need this. Make it sound good. Mm-hmm. And so
he's always carrying around an electric typewriter. Always.
It's so heavy.
It's unnecessary for him to do it. But we say, he's doing this. Let's give him some work to do on the typewriter. Yeah. He sees it like, I'm a businessman. I'm professional. I'm carrying this thing around. And no one carries around a typewriter anymore. But he does. We said, let's give him something to do. And so we said, why don't you type up young Matthew this letter and see if maybe we can.
I'm also a little concerned though. I did forget it wasn't stamped. Did DSJ hand deliver?
He probably walked to your house.
He's a runner
because last time
he runs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you guys talked about running last time you were here. You and him talked about running for a little bit, and
that adds up.
You run like a mile and a half, and he runs like 30 miles.
Yeah. That sounds right. That sounds right.
He literally runs laps around you.
Yeah, he wanted to do an Ironman. He was asking you about it, but then you discussed the fact that he has to swim.
I was very
and if you know anything about DSJ, is that he sinks like a stone.
He doesn't want to go anywhere near water.
No.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I assumed he would have fallen asleep or something on the keyboard, and
I'm sorry that it didn't stay professional the whole time. I do apologize.
It really started off strong.
Yeah, I think he just
until the your arrears part,
and that's distracted. That's our fault too. I mean, we kind of gave him an outline. We should have told him exactly what to type, but when left to his own devices, he will quickly devolve into what you see here.
Sure,
but obviously, it got the point across. You're sitting here with us today,
I am.
And can we have some money?
Here's a piece of paper.
You don't have to answer now.
Yeah, here's a piece of paper with a number.
I thought that was
here's a piece of paper.
Cue something.
No. Here's a piece of paper with a number. Mm-hmm. Don't look at it right now. We'll do the show, and at the end of the show, just kind of
like it's
almost like an offer,
right?
But instead, it's a
and try not to even react to it if you can.
Right? Yeah. Don't look at it and go.
Oh boy!
Why don't you pass the number over to him real quick?
Mm-hmm.
You can look at this.
Right.
Again, before you even take a look at it, we're so happy that you're back.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a year.
It has.
It hasn't been a year. Oh, it has been.
He was on episode like number 7 or 8 when we
early.
watched the World Beyond, starring a young Danny McBride.
Do you remember the band McBride and the Ride?
No.
We got married in high school.
The show was built.
Had a baby when we turned 18.
What did you think? Do you remember? I don't remember what I rated The World Beyond. I remember thinking it was pretty good, though.
I really wish I would have kept track. I really wish I would have kept track of our ratings for each show.
And here's a call to arm for all of our frequent flyers. Go back and listen to our episodes.
Lori Garcia.
And track all of our ratings and send it to us, please. We beg of you.
All you got to do is listen to and re-download them.
Of course.
And listen to the last episode.
I remember liking it, though, thinking that this is from the 1970s. Yeah. Not bad as far as suspense and kind of a paranormal kind of thing to it, because it had a mud golem, right?
Yeah, we learned in that episode that the transom,
that's right.
The back of a boat
and a foreskin,
sure, but also
a mud monster's penis head,
a mud monster's foreskin.
Season 1, episode 9. So it was all in our 10th episode.
Goes way back.
But that's what makes the English language so tricky, right? Is that we can throw one word at you spelled the exact same way.
Right. And the transom can mean a multitude of things. And just like the word fakakta in FCF Network, apparently that can mean a multitude of things.
But see, I knew it as a mud golem's foreskin and learned that it was about the back of a boat.
So you went around saying transom, isn't it, referring to a mud, like your whole life you've been saying that. And you had no idea it was a boat, so people were probably looking at you cross-eyed sometimes.
And as they should.
Wow. So why don't you take a look at our offer, or our plea, number-wise. And Blake, you can dig into some more of our sultry, delicious, juicy fan feedback.
Yeah, we always have fan feedback. We are asking all of our friends to, Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter,
email. But most importantly, the dial-in number. I love the dial-in number. This is from Lori Garcia, who is from Puerto Rico. She was born and raised
the sovereign nation.
The sovereign nation of Puerto Rico. It says, "Oh my God, this was so funny. Despite the fact that I demand a laser light show, I wanted it to feel more like a TED Talk, and you guys couldn't meet my demands."
This is referring to her giving a conference at CouchCon coming up in talking about like fan feedback,
how to contact engagement. Yes, yeah. And also, of course, Big Dick T and her will be married. That's the finale of the CouchCon.
Yep. Oops.
It says Conrad, Jessica, Pooh Hands, and Richard, Big Dick. Don't call him
Richard.
Don't call him Richard. And I had another convention on New Year's Eve, and yes, Pooh Hands were everywhere. Nothing makes me feel safer listening to two pilots getting trashed and flying a plane.
Yeah. 2016, oddly enough, went down as one of the years with the least amount, one of the safest years on history for commercial airlines. And you and I, no small part of that.
Oh, if I may, I listened to Unsolved recently.
Thank you.
You guys may remember this one.
Oh,
someone had been drinking.
Recently, oddly enough, I don't remember it.
That would make sense. It is an act of God that you guys got that plane down.
Yeah, I mean, without DSJ on the ground, you were blitzed. Your gore.
Well, yes.
And, but it's one of those things where you do it every day. It's muscle memory.
Blake cemented an iconic laugh. I was just listening to it.
It sounds like Stanley Whiplash.
Yeah, like a laugh.
Stanley Whiplash.
Yes.
Stanley Whiplash.
That's when you know I've gone over the edge. So I said, hey, 1 million frequent flyer points for you, dear.
Oh, my God.
Love you guys. And I said, on the message it said, poor hands instead of Pooh Hands. And so I said, hey, by the way, it's Pooh Hands, not poor hands. It says, Couch Pilots, damn autocorrect. I wrote Pooh Hands. In my afterlife, I would like to slap Steve Jobs for this abomination. And then Richard, don't call him Dick, Big Dick T, said, you could always dig up his corpse and slap him.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. That's, slap Steve Jobs' rotting corpse.
Yeah.
Why not?
And you know what, Lori? To be honest with you, as beautiful as you are, there is no way that you could ever do anything wrong in regards to Couch Pilots.
I'm really I'm a little frustrated right now, I have to be honest. I was going to be an economics major.
Really?
But I was
Mr. Combs?
Thank you. But I couldn't wrap my hand around it.
It's just widgets and gidgets.
That's what I thought. But you, sir, are giving away so many frequent flyer points. I think the value of an individual point is dropping because you're just handing them out willy-nilly.
Some third world inflation going on now.
I want to reward those people who take the most time.
I do too.
You're creating the 1%. That's so,
You are single-handedly altering the economy of
Bernie
Couch
Sanders
Pilots.
in this bitch.
Maybe so.
Okay.
If we have any more frequent flyer feedback?
One final feedback was a direct text message to myself, actually just before recording for this evening. The Mr. Big album was called Lean Into It. I believe that's right, and that's from The Voice, Dustin from Drunken Lullabies. We called him out. He knew what it was.
And he responded in a big way.
I gave him 100 frequent flyer points.
He gave Lori Garcia 1 million. And Dustin gets
very
100.
modest. Yes.
It is extremely modest.
Listen, she's all the way over in California. There's no way she's going to cash these in. So we're good to go.
Yeah.
Couch Pilot's TED Talk, does that not sound cool? That sounds pretty freaking cool.
I think I'd watch it. Great.
And I think, and Matt, not to put any pressure on you, but she had mentioned the laser light show and how we couldn't do the laser light shows before. But when you look at this piece of paper later on, take that into consideration.
You bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Podcasts.
Love them.
Radio on demand. Couches.
Comfortable.
Living room sitting furniture.
Sex places.
Pilots. People who navigate the air. Television shows.
Yeah.
To watch them on TV. Couch Pilots.
What is Couch Pilots?
One of only several podcasts that exists.
Not several, there's just two.
No, we know of. Who knows what else is out there lurking beneath.
We don't care what else is out there. We just know there's two.
There's two.
Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. Their toilet bowl of water goes one way, ours goes the other.
Couch Pilots has complete domain of the Northern Hemisphere when it comes to television pilots that had one and only one episode. And you don't know anything about it, but we do. And we're going to tell you all about it.
We take all the time. We watch the shows. We take notes for the shows. Mm-hmm. We get together with our laptops and microphones and our audio interfaces. And we do what you don't have to do.
And you know what? You probably don't even want to do it.
Oh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to do it.
I wouldn't do it either.
I would look for. I would go on iTunes and look for a podcast for some things I don't want to do.
And we're doing that thing. We're filling that void for you that you didn't know existed. And guess what? It does, and we're here to fix it.
High five it.
High five that.
Nice. Feel free to high five with us.
Yeah, jump in on those high fives.
You want to try another one?
No,
we'll do another one.
There'll be other chances for high fives.
Should I count?
Yeah, go ahead and keep track of our high fives. Today we discuss the pilot episode of Bagboy from the year of our Lord 2000. Add 15.
Wow,
great year!
Amazing,
year. Great year. How old? It
was a good year for the Roses. I remember.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, when someone says it was a good year for the Roses, that means there was very fertile land.
Right.
The weather was ideal and perfect. Mm-hmm. And roses grow everywhere. I think my in-laws have like a rose bush in their front yard, and in 2015, never looked more beautiful.
Great year for the rose bush. Perfect. How old were you when Bagboy aired in 2015, Matthew? 2015. Oh, great year.
Put me at 33 years old.
Great age.
No, that's a good one.
34 for me. Captain Rest Assured?
40.
Wow, the big 40. Remember your 40th birthday party?
I do remember that. It was a good time. You were there.
Were you surprised?
Yes, I was very surprised. I honestly thought it was not going to be
a deal.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be.
I remember Dustin had a friend there.
Oh yeah,
and then who was the band that played?
Joe Hubert.
Joe Hubert. Mm-hmm. Great party.
Great party. Great band.
I remember your brother being there, and I talked about this.
Punched me. He punched me in the abdomen so hard that there were physical issues I had for days.
What a prick. Oh, boy.
I got a text message from him earlier.
Now, I know right now it's 2017. So far, great year.
Oh, splendid so far.
Let's go back in time just a couple years to 2015 and put our minds in that year so we can properly digest Bagboy. Because we don't want to be in 2017 and think about pilots from the past and compare them to today's standards. That's really unfair.
Well, it's like looking at the pyramids in Egypt. They're all
exactly right.
like what's the one? The Sphinx?
The sphincter.
With the nose is broken and everything. Yeah. The sphincter's broken. The nose is broken off. The paws are broken off. And you go look at it right now, and you're like,
that looks like garbage.
Hey, shitheads, why didn't you do the job right the first time?
Yeah.
But if you go back to 2015, I think the nose is partly there.
Yeah, back in 2015 when the Sphinx was perfect. That's why we have to go back in time.
Gotta go back in time. Huey Lewis and the News, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Huey Lewis and the News?
Huey Lewis and
back
the News.
Back in time.
Back in time. Great album. Is that News?
I think it was
4. No,
it was for the soundtrack for Back to the Future.
Exclusively.
I don't know. I think so.
What are some highlights from the year of this pilot's release, 2015? Comedian Jon Stewart announces he'll be leaving The Daily Show at the end of the year.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Who here watcheth The Daily Show?
Not me.
My wife was my wife.
Oh, nice. High five it.
High five that.
2.
Nice. 2. He's tracking it. Okay, so your wife Heather, your beautiful wife Heather, she watches. She watches or watched. Does she still watch with Trevor Noah?
I did. No, I think it was a Jon Stewart thing. It was. I'd get out of the shower, come in the living room, and bang, she's 10 o'clock.
Whoa.
Bang, whoa, buddy.
That was a little suggestion.
She banged.
I apologize.
She banged. She moved. She moved.
From the back of his songs.
It was Huey Lewis, by the way.
She was watching it 10 o'clock almost every night.
I did not watch.
You let her stay up that late? I never let my wife stay up that late.
You really got to clamp down, Matthew. I like Jon Stewart. I think I didn't watch The Daily Show. I felt like he was a little too snarky, a little too smug, but he was smart. He knew what he was talking about, and he was smart. But I just didn't like his delivery. It was just too kind of like pompous.
Did you like his DiGiorno?
It wasn't delivery. I tell you that much.
I think he kind of owned that though, right? Because he had come on some kind of interview and said, "I'm just a little man in the back of the theater throwing tomatoes."
Of course, self-deprecation will take you everywhere.
Conan is the master of it.
Conan is the master for sure. I didn't really care for The Daily Show. Oddly enough, I did like the Colbert Report that would come on after that. I love that character that Stephen Colbert did. I think he's wildly intelligent and funny. But and I don't even watch The Daily Show now with Trevor Noah. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
I don't like political shows.
No. Well, there you go. Well, there you go. Now this one, Matthew, I thought of you. 64th NBA All-Star Game.
Nice.
West beats East 163 to 158.
How much time
in New
do I
York
have?
City. You've got about 35 minutes, and I'm turning off my mic. Go.
The All-Star Game is a travesty. I gave up on it when the dunk contest turned into some...
Jumping over cars?
Do you remember this one? This probably would have been 2014 when Blake Griffin...
Came out, got out of the car.
He should not... No, Baron Davis... Do you remember this? At the end, it ends with Baron Davis sticking his head out of the moonroof of a Kia and Blake Griffin soaring over the top to dunk. But I remind you that in the semifinals, I think it was, or whatever they want to call those, Blake Griffin botched the first 2 dunks, the first 2 tries, which is a death sentence in any dunk contest.
And in all the dunk contests that we've been in.
The duck contests.
Yeah. Duck, goose. I pulled a hamstring one time in 3rd grade.
Trying to soar and free throw line.
Well, I'm playing duck, goose. Oh. I'm like duck, and then there was the girl that I thought that was cute. I was like goose, and I was like goose.
You goosey, grab her ass.
Yeah. And the teacher's like, don't do that. I'm like, hey, this is the life I lead, lady.
The All-Star Game used to have some teeth to it. They're reportedly, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan hated each other. And Isaiah Thomas looked at the other All-Stars on the Eastern Conference, and he said, don't pass it to Mike.
Wow.
That kind of thing. But now the All-Star Game is literally...
No defense, just...
It's just, obviously no defense if it's 163 to 58, but to me it seems like it's just one giant commercial. That's all it is. Not only is regular NBA games like that, but if you're jumping over sponsors' vehicles and people are handing balls out of moonroofs, it's ridiculous,
Many people don't agree, but the MLB has at least tried to make it worth something.
The NFL has always been horrible. Nobody's ever watched it.
The
Nobody
Pro Bowl,
cares.
you mean? It's just rotten.
So...
And I never understood that. Like, why? Why is it bad? You take all the best players, you put them together, but people can opt out, and not all the people that you want to see there are going to be there because they don't want to get injured. And it is. It turns into a big crap fest. But in my mind, and in like the communist perfection that could be these all-star games, it would be the greatest thing on earth.
It could be.
It should be. It was at one time.
Just disappointing. Harrison Ford crash lands his 1942 Ryan Aeronautical ST-3KR aeroplane in California.
That plane's for pussies.
That plane is shit. There's your problem right there, Ford.
Right.
The same Harrison Ford that survived a nuclear blast in a lead fridge.
The very right. And you know what? So much computer technology is in movies anymore. They did that. That was actually real. They set off a nuclear bomb, and then they put him in a.
Why would they spend their budget on a nuclear bomb?
They wanted to look real.
Right.
They wanted it to look real. He said, you know what? I came from Star Wars background. That's where I got my start. We didn't have any computer technology back then. It was all models. Let's do it again. Yeah. And he said, I'm getting my ass in this 1940 refrigerator. They set off a real nuclear bomb, and damn it if it didn't look real. It might have been ridiculous, but it was real.
They should have like been cleaning him up out the insides of that refrigerator.
He lost a leg. He lost a leg. They did CGI that out.
You couldn't tell.
No, he did a very good job. They CGI'd that part out. But I mean, still, what a badass, right? To survive a plane crash.
Hey, survive sex with Carrie Fisher. It makes you a badass.
Nice.
High five that.
Let's high five it.
Come on, Matt.
3. I was too busy counting.
Don't count. Just go with the feeling of it. I'm going to hold this ball outside of this moonroof, and I want you to slam dunk it next time.
I have no business in the final round.
British musician Zane Malik announces he's leaving the band One Direction.
Oh, Zane.
A moment of silence.
You know, here's the thing. There's these managers, you know, and they get 5 guys together. There's usually 1 black, 1 Hispanic, 2 white. You know, one's great.
1 paper, 2 coin.
And, you know, they become the biggest thing. You know, new kids on the block. And then these kids get a little bit older, a little bit taller.
Mm-hmm. They wish they were ballers.
I wish they had a phone and a girl.
They call her.
And they call her.
And then one of them decides to just, you know what? I'm leaving the group. And it's like going to the bank, opening up your safe deposit box, taking 1 gold bar out.
Bullion.
Gold bullion out.
Delicious.
And leaving the other 7 bullions in there and saying, you know what? I can make it on my own. And I'll be damned if every single time they all crash. Nobody ever comes. Name 1 artist that has been successful after leaving the band that's not named Justin Timberlake.
Joey Fatone.
Okay. I stand corrected.
Star of My Big Fat Greek Wedding and its sequel, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. Electric Boogaloo. Can any of you name a One Direction song?
Oh, dear.
Nope.
I know and we danced all night to the best song ever. That's One Direction. But beyond that, I have no idea.
Have you guys watched the James Corden carpool karaoke?
No.
I think he gets those.
I've only seen it with...
I think that's the song they do.
With Hamilton guy.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Noriega,
that's right.
That's good.
Whew. I close my eyes, and in my head, it's 2015.
Yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Man.
Why did we choose? And you know, Matthew, I'm going to put you on the spot. I hope you don't mind.
Please.
Why did we choose to watch Bagboy?
Oh, sure. Like,
what are the qualifications? What does a pilot need to bring to the table for us to say, yes, sir, thank you, ma'am, hello, thank you, ma'am, yes, we will watch you and talk about you.
First requirement is that it must have not gone past its first episode or the pilot.
Good job.
Check.
Okay, I may get these 2 out of order, but I'm going to give it.
There is no order as long as you all 3 of them.
That's fair.
New order.
Must be free.
Yeah.
You can't spend any money on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
by the way,
must be
that piece of paper. Okay.
Take your time with it.
All right, just take your time with it. But
I'm having trouble with
take that into consideration. No, I'm just saying
legibility.
I'm just saying take that in. Oh, I'll rewrite it. Just take it into consideration. What font would you like me to draw it in?
Times New Roman.
Gothic. Sanskrit.
Playbill? I can do Playbill.
The pilot was
Playbill.
free. The pilot had 1 episode and 1 episode only.
And it must be accessible.
Yes.
You must be able to find it.
Nailed it.
High five.
Nailed it. High five that for sure.
4.
You know, to be honest with you, we've had a lot of people on this show. Mm-hmm. Nobody has ever done it as smooth as you have.
No, that's it. That's the best we've had. Yep. Where can you find Bagboy to watch for yourself? You can find the entire episode.
You know what to do, Tube.
By some bastard. You are a bastard, sir.
Old dirty bastard to you.
I'm down with ODB. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, you know me.
By subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, then proceed to click on one of our classically blue links in the show notes, or go to YouTube.
And you know what to do, Tube.
You're damn right.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Summary of the pilot. Dr. Stephen Brule directs himself in the title role of a rejected sitcom pilot about a Myers superfood bag boy who must decide whether or not to report a shoplifter. Great summary.
Yet again, I mean, you come up to the plate and you knock it out of the park with your summaries. This summary summarizes the summary that we need.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. There's so many things in this world, just in general.
Oh, there's... You know what? There's so many things. Let's name them all.
Let's name all the things real quick. Before we go forward, let's move on.
Let's each do one thing.
Hats.
Okay.
Bags.
Mm-hmm. Militias.
Perfect. Hats, bags, and militias. I'm terrible at hats. I can't pull a hat off. I have never found a bag that suits me, and I've been rejected.
Well, you can't wear a hat because of your huge head.
I have a big watermelon head. That's exactly right. And I tell you what, I've Googled militia, and I have not found one that'll accept me. I'm terrible at all.
Well, it's hard not to get accepted into a militia.
Most of them, most of them don't embrace social media. Well,
I'm terrible at all those things. But one thing I am good at is finding a summary. Nice. And damn it if I didn't find a good summary here and for Bagboy.
Well done.
Thank you so much. Interesting facts. I always like to tread lightly on this section because it really can. Oh, don't high five that. Hey, put your hand down.
No, it's a question. Was straight up.
Oh,
question when you finish. No, when you finish.
Please go right ahead.
How many girls have said, "Hey, I got a question when you finish"?
What am I working with here? What is the question?
The question is that I'm just wondering what's behind. There's quite a bit of preamble for this section.
The Constitution.
The Constitution, sure.
Yeah.
Was this
the Bill of Rights?
Say no more. Whoops. But what's behind the build-up? Were you guys wrong? Did someone come in hot and heavy when you guys called them interesting facts early on?
You know, we like to warm up all of our frequent flyers with some of our banter and building up to the show, putting in that mind frame. I don't want to, we could kill 3 hours deciding whether or not these facts are interesting or commenting on them or really digging further than just what the actual facts are. And that's what I want.
Oh, I don't know what that button is for.
Uh-oh. The Just Fly Me button?
Whoops. I'll look it up in the manual. I have no idea what that number was.
What I want is for people to take in these facts and process them. But shut your mouth, because these facts, they're set in stone. You cannot change them. These are facts that I have found. I've gone a step further than just clicking on the classically blue link. I put my neck out on the line when I start clicking around to find things about this pilot that you wouldn't know otherwise. So let me present them to you. Free from adjectives, free from qualifiers.
I hate fucking adjectives.
Thank God. You know what?
There's just so much aggression during this segment.
These adjectives are big.
No, I'm just observing.
They're gross.
Yeah.
They're disgusting.
Finally, someone's got the balls to step up to the plate to the English language. Thank you. Bagboy is a 2015 American television special produced for Adult Swim and based on the series Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule.
Okay.
I've been getting a heavy dose of Dr. Steve Brule here lately.
Yeah, and we can expound on that for sure in just a moment.
Sir.
The special features John C. Reilly as Dr. Stephen Brule, who, in universe, created the pilot on which the special is based. So essentially, what we're dealing with is a meta pilot. We're taking a person who is a character, and that character decides to make his own pilot. Mm-hmm. So this is, honestly, we've had musicals, we've had talk shows, we've had game shows, right? We've had cartoons. This is our first meta pilot.
Not to be confused with a meta milk boner. I want to make sure
I
people don't
cannot
get super
imagine
confused.
who would make that distinction.
I just want to make sure.
The pilot was rejected by Channel 5 for its substandard quality and low entertainment value.
And if you've seen Channel 5, this is
This is
a low blow.
This goes well beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I pay extra on my cable for Channel 5.
Thank you. The special was directed by Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim of their production company Absolutely Productions.
Absolutely.
Kind of a catchy name.
It is. That's subjective, I suppose. It premiered on Adult Swim on February 21, 2015, to positive critical reception.
Okay, so we have a pilot that had positive reception didn't go to series.
That's very curious, isn't it? Very curious.
Some would call me Curious George.
I would definitely call you that if given the opportunity.
First time I've heard him called that.
Yeah.
I've known you for years.
Won't be the last.
Tons of people have called me that.
The fake opening credits include several intentional spelling errors, including David Liebhart, Pablo Myers, Wayne and Jan Schuyler, and Mickey Dolenz. Which, the spelling... Hey, we're the monkeys, right? People say we monkey around.
We're too busy podcasting.
To put anybody down.
Or any pilot down.
Interesting facts over.
Okay, good.
Everyone's sigh of relief as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know,
tension was
right. I always dab my brow right after it just because of the intensity.
And I always just do the dance move, the dab.
Right, and it's just like watching like Jason Bourne movie. You just at the end of it, you just like
suspense was really
right at the end. You're just like,
can't believe you made it through that.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to survive because he's the namesake, but still you get so wrapped into it.
I didn't think we'd make it.
The mission is not that impossible.
Twitter responses. This is the part of the show where we say, hey, you created this. Hey, you started this. Hey, you directed this. Hey, you wrote this. We're Couch Pilots. This is who we are. This is what we do. Would you like to comment on this pilot? And everybody said no, except young Jake Elliott, who played Chip, the hunk, if you will.
Oh.
And he says, hey, awesome. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for taking the time, Jake Elliott. We appreciate it. I say that half joking and half serious. I mean...
It was nice of him.
Yeah, it was a response.
He didn't have to.
Acknowledge.
He didn't read the tweet because the tweet said, hey, do you have any tidbits or stories? Not, hey, can you just give us words of encouragement? We're going to do it anyway. We don't need your encouragement, Chip. He's such a hunk.
He's a young fella.
He looks like he should be in One Direction.
Hunk. Right. But I've never seen him do anything else. I'm sure he's not so busy that he couldn't expound a little bit on that. But you know what? We do appreciate, honestly, that you get back to it all. And that's fine. And we're going to dig into the pilot here in just a moment, but not before we listen to a promo for one of my favorite shows, and that's the song Inside and Out. Ever wonder what inspired a songwriter to pen your favorite song? How did they come up with that cool chord progression? Or even how they got into playing music in the first place? Join the podcasting god, Blake Clayton, as he talks to the prolific songwriters in roots music to talk about the song Inside and Out. Join us every other Tuesday at fcfnetwork.com for the song Inside and Out. Also available on iTunes. The song Inside and Out, where our very own Captain Philip Ressisher takes an in-depth look at a particular song by one of your favorite roots music artists, digs deep, find out what it's all about, and it's a really interesting take on the traditional interview format.
Yeah, I really do enjoy doing that show. I haven't done it in a while.
Wow.
It's been a while. With the actually, I don't think since FCF started, which has been a year. It's been a year. But I have some people in the melting pot that I would like to do. One person I would like to do, I'm hoping to do it before she dies.
Oh, boy. Who's that?
Jessie, the lead singer of Those Darlings, she has cervical cancer.
Is it a death sentence?
I'm thinking cancer of any kind is pretty much a death sentence, right?
Hopefully not.
She shaved her head, and she wears oxygen now, so I'm thinking...
Oh, poor lady. Best of luck to her, for sure. And honestly, you've been doing interviews for a long time.
Right, I've done over... See, that's the part of the thing is, between IBWIP and the song Inside It Out, I've done over 100 interviews with only a handful of repeat guests. So there's not a lot of people that I want to interview that I haven't already interviewed.
Yeah, but I mean, it really is a cool, like, independent music in general. It's just kind of a cool scene. It's where a lot of hit people lie. And you're breaking it down even further, saying, who's in this roots music independent scene? Some of these people are signed, some are not. Some of these people are touring on their own dime, really putting it out there. And you're taking the time to talk to them about the songs that matter.
Right. There's been, just in the song Inside and Out, I interviewed Possessed by Paul James, Willie T. Taylor,
the Slaughter Daughters.
The Slaughter Daughters, James Honeycutt.
Pearls Mahone. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You talked to her.
Brett Conlon.
I love the Heartbreak.
I miss the Heartland Heartthrob.
Love me some Brett Conlon. Check out the FCF network for all of our families and shows, including the song Inside and Out. Now let's dig into the pilot of Bagboy. Boy, this is a crazy one. It starts off, again, Tim and Eric have created this very bizarre world full of all these different characters, and Dr. Stephen Brule, played by John C. Reilly, is one of these characters. So they're saying, you know what? Not only do we have our own series called Check It Out, there are 12-minute episodes that you can find on Adult Swim, where it's Stephen Brule goes out and does interviews. It's really bizarre and silly, and it's shot with that like 1980s VHS style.
Sure.
And now we've taken it further and said Dr. Stephen Brule, the character, has created a show called Bagboy where he plays a bag boy.
Right, and it starts off with the Myers family photo / intro video.
Yep.
Which him and his wife have this weird hand-holding thing, and
they're probably in their late 50s, mid-60s, somewhere
very
there.
ethnically diverse family.
That was one thing about the family. I'm like, there's a little bit of everything in this melting pot.
It really seemed to...
But the hand-holding thing was... to me, was funny. Like, I don't know if people would have noticed it necessarily, but how could you not notice it? Like, she's sitting down, and you know those family photos, they always have, like, you know, the husband standing behind him with his hand on, like, the shoulder or something. Mm-hmm. There's always these weird, uncomfortable, unnatural poses that they put you in. But here, instead of a picture, we're seeing a video of what would be a family photo, and she has her hand up, like she's swearing on a Bible in the court of law, and then he's awkwardly holding her hand from behind her.
It's weird, yeah. The person talking, I think, is Pablo Myers. I think he looks like a white dude, but I think he's supposed to be a Mexican fella.
Yeah.
There's something very Hispanic about, yes.
Sure,
yes.
For sure. And he's a skinny, short little fella. And you got him and his wife. And again, they're probably in their 60s. And you got this young boy, he's like their son. And then you have Pablo's brother. And they're all saying, he's talking, everyone else is quiet, but he's saying, this is a pilot I created with Stephen Brule. He assured me this will be a great success. I invested my time and energy into it. I hope you enjoy it. And it's set with a Christmas tree. It's all very odd.
And it doesn't, like, basically at the end of it is like, and if you don't like it, or my family doesn't like it, fuck them or something like that.
Yeah, he said, what does he say? Enough about the horror of my life and my family.
He's like, I don't care what my son thinks. My brother thinks it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't care. This is my project.
Right.
Tells his brother to go to hell.
and then they don't even say anything. They're just looking at the camera.
And his brother's expression does not change during that entire...
From there, it becomes, again, kind of a very formulaic 1980s, early 90s sitcom, where it pans in from the outside. There's kind of a general laughter, and then you see our hero, Dr. Stephen Brule, playing, I think, just Stephen Brule in this case, mopping the floors of Myers Superfood Mart, and he says, "I want to make these shoes." Actually, you know what? Let's all of us do our very own Stephen Brule impression real quick.
What's the sentence we're saying?
This is a lot of pressure.
Say, I would like you to say, Mr. Myers likes his floors spick and span.
Okay.
Philip Ressler, do you have a?
Mr. Myers likes his floors spick and span.
Mr. Myers likes his floors spick and span.
That was better.
Mr. Myers likes his floors spick and span.
Okay. You got first. You got second. I got third. You did good.
No, it's good. It's good.
That's why I went first, is to make you look great.
Can I cue the high five, though?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
5.
Not only I like that. Just yelling out 5. That's way better than what we usually do. I say some stupid shit like high five it, but he just yells 5. I like that. He commands it.
I was trying to blend the two.
This is the one time I wish we would have the financial fortitude to have
the cameras
going, because it was so.
Well, if this
he was so
sheet,
proud. Yeah. Also taking
actually. Oh no! These are my lab values that I wrote on the back of.
What are lab values?
No, it's literally.
Are you
from
sick?
It's literally from my last physical that I wrote my notes on the back of.
Are you sick?
How'd
it go?
Your offer says 5'8", 160.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that sounds right.
You know what?
That's what we're looking for.
I wish I was 160.
So yeah, Stephen Brule in a grocery store setting, and it's one. You see one set of shelving. It's all full of different cans. He's making the floor spick and span. He backs himself into a corner, and he's kind of like, well, I'm stuck in the corner. I better try to find my way out of this. And so he's like a few footprints won't hurt. And of course, the floor is wet, and he takes a really nasty spin.
Oh, it's a very violent
crack. There's a crack when you listen to it. Yeah.
In this way, it harkens back to a show we did recently, Boo Boo Runs Wild, where there's a lot of extra sound effects. And again, Tim and Eric are known for kind of their gross out humor and a lot of the over the top sound effects. This is no different. When he falls, there's cracking, there's aching, there's
puking.
Definitely
puking. I was just like,
some folks can't watch it.
I've never fell before so hard that I puked. I've never done that.
But if I may, to be a Steve Brule snob for a moment, there is I think it might be a Doctor or Check It Out where he visits a biker bar, and ends up in the restroom. And it's coming out from both ends.
Yeah.
But the thing to note is that he is throwing up the exact same thing. That he did when he hit the floor.
I love
Myers.
Tim and Eric. I've watched a lot of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. I've watched a lot of the Check It Out. I think on one of the news section of Tim and Eric, when they do the Channel 5 News, is the Mary News team. There's one where he's drinking a lot of wine. And he always says for your health, but in this one he's like
sweetberry wine.
He's like sweetberry wine. He's like for your wine, and he's like what goes in the hole comes out the hole, and he like pukes, and he's just such a bizarre character, and it's awesome. I think that they took the time to make this half-hour pilot. He's trying to get up from the floor. He's puking. He's knocking cans off the shelf, and then it goes to the intro.
Right,
that was the cold open.
But it's the beautiful editing, the Tim and Eric editing. They got their fingerprints all over it. It's like he just starts to puke, and they cut him off, and it's like harsh edit,
the freeze.
The freeze. It's beautiful.
And so then the Bagboy theme song. It's kind of a rap, and it basically during the song it goes through and shows all the characters and puts their name on it, so you can quickly familiarize who's going to be in this store, who he's going to be dealing with, and what their character name is.
Yeah, the theme song is great. It's like a super white dude doing kind of like a casual pop hip hop, and it's like Bagboy, put your cans into the bag, put your cans in the bag. And like keep saying the same thing. It's ridiculous. And then here comes the laugh track. Now we talked about in a previous episode about how was it ironic that they put the laugh track in Stick Around with Andy Kaufman? The chances are no, it was not. Right. In this case, you bet it was.
Oh, yeah. Full. And that's the thing. I know how you feel about laugh tracks over the years we've been doing this, and I instantly know what type it is, whereas probably a year ago I wouldn't have even thought about it. But now as soon as I hear one, I'm like, okay, this is either supposed to be in there or it's definitely there because it's meticulously put in there.
And I want to say this too. This is a very unique scenario where you have the real world, and then you have
Steve Brule's world.
The show is built on the back of his songs.
It's not that easy at all.
True story. You've got the real world, and then you've got the world that Stephen Brule's in. So in the world that Stephen Brule exists and is making this pilot, that laugh track is genuine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if you come into our world, it's very ironic. So it's very meta. That's right. It exists on two levels, where normally it would just be like Action Family, right? Like that was built in the 80s, and that had an ironic laugh track back then. But this is a meta situation where it's ironic in one universe, but not in the other. And that to me is a very funny kind of hierarchy of laugh tracks. The very first scene you see Stephen Brule there. He's in the produce section, and who walks in but one of the monkeys, Mickey Dolenz.
And then, of course, he asks where are the bananas, which, of course, you know me, hate the banana.
What are you, some kind of monkey?
Yeah. He's like, actually, I am. And I know you are. You're Mickey Dolenz from the band The Monkees.
This starts a series throughout the rest of the pilot of Stephen Brule looking directly at the camera and then like looking at the actors and like directing him while the show is happening.
While they're rolling tapes.
Yes. Yep. I love this. This happens all the time, and it is, you don't see this anywhere. It is awesome.
Yes.
So Mickey Dolenz is in and out, and quickly he's like, that's... I guess that's just the end of his cameo. That was the monkey joke.
Scene with Mickey Dolenz.
That was his monkey joke. Yeah. It's just like that. And that really sets the tone for the rest of the pilot. We then see the cashier. It's a cute girl.
Come on, baby. Kick them daisies. Look at them girls with the Daisy Dukes on.
The show is built on the back of his songs.
I love the Buxom Blondes, and I'll tell you what, This was in HD quality, and she was young, and she was beautiful.
Here we go.
And I love to see a belly button on a young lady. Guess what? You're getting a bump later on, young lady.
As perverse as your thoughts may be, it does garner well for the pilot because it does get him a bump.
Oh, yeah.
Say you end up at a 2 on this one, it's going to a 3.
Right.
That's no small potatoes.
Can't do no wrong. If I was to do a pilot today, if me and Jason, if Jason Garcia sent us out to...
Greg Garcia,
yeah. If Greg Garcia sent us out to do a pilot, the first thing, when we sat around the table for the first time,
boom,
blank notebook papers, I'd be like, Jason, where's the Buxom Blonde going to fit in this? Because when I rate this pilot that never goes to series, I want to give it one more bump.
Yeah, I'm thinking you review it here.
I'm thinking about a lot of different bumps we've had in the past. So immediately, what you want is a Buxom Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1 with the bullet. Number 2, you want Michael Ian Black in there. You've had an MIB bump.
Yep.
Number 2, we dig up the corpse of Harris Whittles because I think we had Harris Whittles bump.
Right.
And then, yes, of course, you get John Candy in there. That big fat ass John Candy. We dig up his rotting fat ass corpse and we put him in there. That gets us at a 4 already. We're series bound at that point.
Right.
So you and I have pretty much cooked up the formula for a successful TV program
without even trying.
And 2 corpses. So you got Daisy, this beautiful young lady working the counter. And then you have a fat gentleman who we've seen from the Tim and Eric movies, as well as not the movies, or the movies as well as the TV show. It's Doug Prischpried, and what a bizarre exchange they have.
It's bizarre, and that dude is creepy, and he's creepy the rest of the show without even saying a word.
No, he harnesses the creepiness.
Right. He's there. Everybody's had either a neighbor or a guy on their street, on their block, that gave off that weird creepiness.
You know what, though? He's one that talks to the camera as well. He turns to it and goes, I'm Doug Prischpried.
Yeah, he's like, he says to this very young girl, because he's probably in his late 50s.
Sure.
And he's saying, hey, I have these tickets to this dumpster dive.
Right.
And, of course, that is nonsense, right?
Right,
just that.
Yeah.
And then he's, like, inviting
VIP, I think he says. Yeah, VIP.
And then he's like, I'm the big boy with the butter, and he's like looking at the camera, and he's like pulling down his eyelids, and this store, while they were in a produce section earlier with Mickey Dolenz and bananas, is largely about cans.
Oh, it's just all cans,
all cans, and he's walking out of there with cans.
I don't think we actually see the produce either. I'm convinced this is entirely cans.
Well, canned bananas,
canned bananas,
and even if you look where the freezer section would be. Mm-hmm. I don't think you see anything in the freezer section, but I would be assuming that it would be frozen cans.
Also cans frozen in there.
Mm-hmm. And they're that generic 60s kind of logo for whatever it is that's in it.
Meat.
Brown
Vegetable.
food.
Yeah, brown. Get your fill of brown. The store is definitely can-centric. Doug Prischpried is again dressed in a suit, being very odd. But no one else, no one's off-put by him. Everyone accepts the behavior of everyone else around them. And as he's checking out, Matthew, you and I talked the other night about how funny this scene was. Would you like to tell us exactly how much these cans cost?
1 paper equals 4 coin. That'll be, what is it? 2 paper and 1 coin, something like that?
They are working in a currency that is outside of what we know.
Right.
Yes, in a meta-currency, if you will.
Right. The beautiful Daisy announces what it'll cost, and Prischpried doesn't think twice, and he pays her for it. And they get rid of Doug Prischpried. He's going out, and Brule is directing him
where to go
mid-pilot.
But he stops him, right?
Yeah,
he just hangs out in the back of the shot.
He hangs out in the back of the shot the whole time.
I wrote that down.
And also, numerous times on this pilot is Steve Brule then looks at the wrong camera. I love, he does that, I think, in the other stuff he's
classically,
done.
Yes.
But I love that also there are times when the other people, and I know it's because other people are being directed by him, but when he looks at the wrong camera,
it's genius.
It's so minute, and it's such a detail that can be overlooked when you're writing. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, how about I look over here at the wrong camera and then come back? I mean, until you see it, I can see where a lot of people would skip over.
There's probably a very formulaic way to do this, and it's easy to fall in those ruts, but they're working parallel and outside of that.
He doesn't do it all the time to where you're like, he never knows what camera he's on, but he does it sometimes, and it's just that hint of, and it's not even a long, sometimes it's very quick, like, oh, and then he goes over, and it's smooth.
This makes me very happy. This is not, oddly enough, not the first Absolutely Productions pilot we've done. We also did The New Big Ball with Neil Hamburger, and you were not really a fan. That's very good. You still got it. You were not really a fan of that, if I remember correctly, but you seem to be enjoying this. This makes me very happy.
We'll see.
We will see. Prishpreet is making his way slowly out of the store, and Steven begins to ask Daisy out. And this may be my favorite part of the entire pilot. He says, I love you. I'll marry you. Just not on the show. Like he's saying, like, outside of what they're doing in his real life, I would marry you. He's like announcing this in the he thinks he's saying it so quietly that the camera won't pick it up and the pilot won't show this, but it is all of that and a bag of chips.
Yes,
I love this part. I love all these little
nice cans.
Is this not when though?
It's like I'm a real can, man.
This is when the hunk doesn't he interrupt that train of thought?
Yes, he does.
Yes,
jerk.
Daisy is asked.
Not only does he not give you detailed information at all when you ask him for it
on a tweet,
the kid just comes and disrupts
the slick back hair on the.
Yeah. He's a real hunk.
He looks like he would be in One Direction.
He does.
They replaced
Zane Malik
with
Chip Hunk.
Doug Prishpreet.
Oh, that'd be great. He looks like that Pearl manager, whoever that was, the weird guy. Anyway. So Brule's asking Daisy out. She doesn't really get to answer. And then Chip comes in, and he kind of asks her out. He says, I got tickets to the Twisted Chains. And she's like, wow.
She tells him she was going to be, washing her hair.
And she kind of like cheeses it for the camera. Yeah. Like it's a classic. Like
he's
a girl
like,
washing
too bad. Like those are plans that can't be changed.
And she doesn't get to answer before it's announced by Pablo Myers that there's a mandatory staff meeting in 5 minutes, and then
it's over the intercom. Right, he doesn't come on. He's not on screen yet, but he comes over the intercom.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, Steve and Brule, everyone's kind of like ushering their way to the back, and Steve is like telling Doug Prishpreet to get out of the way.
He's been hanging out back there the whole scene.
And here's the thing: is it's an automatic door, like at every grocery store in the world. But this is like a patio door.
It hasn't moved.
That has no handle. Right. It's basically a patio door with no handle that he's got to maneuver himself out of.
So everyone goes to the meeting. Everyone that's working in the store currently goes back there, and we see another Tim and Eric semi-regular in the name of Scott Clam. And he is not the owner, but he's like the manager.
He's the clam man.
He's the clam man. He's as he's running the meeting, he says he keeps breaking pencils, and he says the word "wah" like Lucy, like "wah," and he keeps breaking all these pencils. He's like, "I'm a bad clam man."
And he's like, "I got to go home and spank myself."
And the owner's back there. He's like, "Yeah, you do have to go home and spank yourself.
You go home.
I'm a bad clam man." What kind of insanity?
Your spanking.
What kind of insanity produces just up to this point? It gets way weirder and way darker later. But what kind of mad person creates this kind of content?
Yeah,
a genius, maybe.
Maybe a mad genius.
Maybe a mad.
But this is their outlet, so I'm afraid of what if they didn't have this.
Oh, man, they would be the ones going on these murder sprees at airports. Yes. Good Lord! He said the clam man says, "I break everything in life."
He has a true moment of just.
Yeah,
he's not coming back from that.
He sees himself for what he is, and he dwells on it. Mr. Myers then excuses the clam man, and then he says he starts talking about shoplifting. He's like, we have a real rise in shoplifters, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the person who finds out who the shoplifter is 10 free cans, and I'm not the dented ones.
No,
the real nice cans.
The real nice cans.
And these cans are like gallon-sized cans, wouldn't you say?
And then Steve goes into this flashback kind of meta dream thing, where he's looking at a kitchen, only like just one wall of it, and it's just cans stacked, and he's basically this whole time just sexually talking about these cans and how they'll make him a different man.
Well, and how he'll lure Daisy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The cans are key to everything.
Did you notice some boiled hooves?
I didn't notice.
and one just said brown food.
I did notice here, and this is the first of a series that we'll see throughout the rest of the pilot, is kissing. Stephen Brule kisses the cans.
It is eerie.
Yes, and the kissing of the shoulder stuff, that is so creepy. Yeah. It's so creepy.
This is the first time you see it.
There's a little Chester to it, I'm afraid.
Yeah. He is kissing these cans.
Chester Copperpot?
Chester Copperpot.
The very same.
Copper buns.
Then we see that they're saying, well, why do we have to do this? We got Terry, the security guard, and then the camera pans over to Terry right by the front where Doug Prischpried awkwardly exited earlier, and it's an old man, yet another Tim and Eric regular, sitting by the door, dressed in full police garb, asleep.
And I do believe he has some kind of spinal bifida.
He may.
Oh, because of his posture?
Yes. He has to have some kind of spinal bifida. And I thought originally it was a woman. Just because when they were doing the opening credits, just because it just such an old hunched over person, you couldn't really tell.
Well, Brule says, "Don't worry about Terry, the security guard. I'll find who it is, and I'll protect all of you." And he's looking at Daisy, and then he starts to kiss her shoulder.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's little itty bitty kisses, and they're very like if someone is to do that to me, I would go, like, what are you doing? But the characters just.
This oddness,
go along with it.
Everyone accepts everything, no matter how odd and how bizarre it gets and how dark it gets. Everyone just accepts this reality. The next scene, there probably would have been a commercial break there. We've set up the problem for the show. We've got a shoplifter, and now here we get into the action. Act 2. Steve Brule is out there, and he's looking for the shoplifter,
he's sleuthing,
and he's and the shot has Mrs. Livingstone. And
she was a crab.
She was a crab. She was one of those older ladies, very rich.
It's funny you say that because I think her Tim and Eric name is Carol Crabbit.
Oh. So you call her
Crab.
They've done well.
And Steve is hiding behind a bunch of cans, of course, and
on the top
on the top shelf.
Yep.
And he's like, "What are you doing, Mrs. Livingstone?" And she's like, "Fuck you," basically. She's like,
she calls him a peasant.
Right. She gives him the.
And she's kind of dressed as a genie too. She's got full Indian head garb on.
No, that Indian head garb would be like 50s women would wear that.
Yeah, head wound maybe.
Heyo.
While he's trying to convince her of what he's doing, he's also doing a commercial to the camera for Puddlefish cans.
Oh, that's right, because Mr. Myers had said we have a surplus of puddlefish.
Yeah.
She says, "I wouldn't feed that to my slaves."
That's racist.
Yeah, there's some social. There's some inequality.
The next scene, Dr. Stephen Brule is kind of back in the corner of the store, the front corner, and he's talking to a puppet who is being worked and voiced by David Liebhart,
Al Roker.
One of a dead ringer for Al Roker, number one. Number two, a very regular on Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric just are recycling all these people because they want to work within their universe. They want their fans to recognize this is all on purpose,
right?
And they recycle these people. And he's talking as like a giant weird cartoony dog kind of character.
And you see the top of his head,
right? That's the thing I was gonna say. You can it's. There is no way, shape, or form that this guy is
not Al Roker.
Is not hiding. is hiding. If this was Sesame Street, you would never see him.
Right.
But here you see the top of his head. Sometimes in this show, you see his glasses.
But that's what they're the masters of, is almost...
They're capturing that amateur spirit, ironically, on purpose.
That's perfect.
So he's talking to him about catching the thief, and he's got binoculars in the store, which is silly. They're having more meta conversations, put your head down, get out of the shot, or back up.
Al Roker.
Again, just directing the actors and everything during the shot. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with your?
I just can't believe we've been talking this long.
It just hit him.
So they're sitting back there, and Dr. Brule, he checks the security camera. He wants to attack this thing from all angles. He has seen those 10 cans at the end of the tunnel, and just beyond that, Daisy, which is his ultimate prize. Right. He then sees in the camera, he sees what he thinks is his mom hiding a turkey under her skirt.
And he's like, I got her.
She's very old, right?
Oh, very old, very small.
Tiny.
Fragile, very fragile. I just blew her over. He's like, but it's my mom. I can't. But I gotta get those cans to impress Daisy.
That's right. Those 10 cans mean more than anything.
Yeah, he goes and he's like, trying to bust out his mom. Come to find out, she had brought his lunch.
A hair pie sandwich
with extra frosting. And this is another moment where he's feeding his mom, quote unquote, the lines that she's saying, and she's immediately repeating it back to him. This is all extremely silly, and I don't think there's any computer trickery here. This is a woman who is probably 4 foot tall. She's not like a small person, a dwarf, or a midget that has got weird lengths of arms. Right. This is a completely proportioned person, but extremely tiny.
80 plus, easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do have if I may, real quick.
Please.
I think in this meta universe of Steve Brule, in his check it outs, he will mention that he has a very estranged relationship with his mother. Like when he goes to the fertility clinic, he talks about how his mother only loves Mobin's child now, and that Mobin, and he wants to almost repair this relationship with his mother, even though she's told him that he is dead to her. But in this universe, in this grocery store,
this is like his chance to rekindle the relationship.
Yes.
So this works on many different levels, is what you're saying. You've really dug into this.
I think so.
You really dug Prishpreet into this. They embrace after him feeding the lions.
Kisses her many times.
On the lips, many times. More kissing, which it can be the most awkward thing that there is, and they take advantage of it. Dr. Stephen Brule goes back to watching over the store, and he sees a young boy taking some candy. The boy is Charlie, and we find out that it is Daisy, the girl he's got a crush on, working the register.
Brother.
It's a younger brother.
Yep. And he catches him as he's leaving, and he's like,
"Hold on, young man." Yeah. And then they go to a commercial. But they don't show a commercial, they just show the word commercial. So this is where one would go. And then when they come back, Stephen Brule says go to the puppet, like he's telling him to start doing his lines.
And so him and the dog are having a discussion about this quandary that he is in. He caught the little kid stealing a candy bar, but as Daisy's sister, he's in a conundrum.
Yeah.
What do you do?
He's saying, I love this girl. And they're doing that, sitting in a tree, K-I-S. But he's not spelling. He's spelling like K-R-L-L, letter of snake. That is his word for S, letter of snake.
He famously fits an R in, like Grambling.
Oh, yeah. Preppets.
Yeah.
Stephen Brule is known for butchering the English language in many different ways. Letter of snake. Mr. Myers comes up to Stephen Brule while he's doing his watching of the store, and he commends him for his shoplifting vigilance. And he says, I'm going to need you to stay overnight. I want you to do a night watch tonight. And he says, well, what about all the horse ghosts?
Right.
I was going to ask if I heard that right.
I was like, what? Again, nothing. There's no...
They didn't elaborate.
There's no context for this.
Don't worry about that.
This is the first time we even imagine a world where a horse ghost could be a problem. And, you said earlier you saw, hooves in a can.
Maybe this has some connection.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
boiled hooves.
I think what it ends up being is what he's saying by horse ghosts is probably the slaughtering of the horses
that have made it out of
into the can.
Sure.
I think that's exactly right.
Let's high five that.
A high five for sure.
6.
The puppet then tries to get up, and he tells him to get back down again. Then it goes to night. Brule's in the store alone, and he starts walking around the store. And he goes up to the security guard, and again, I guess the security guard is just always there, always sleeping. And he takes his gun, and he starts walking around with his gun. He then hears a horse neigh, and then he starts shooting wildly. He shoots
a number of cans are punctured.
Oh, the fate of cans are sealed at this point.
Yes.
And he busts a couple open. They start sprouting just like an old Warner Brothers cartoon after someone takes a drink.
He's like, oh no, maybe I should put this gun back because he doesn't want to get in trouble with Mr. Meyer, right? For damaging
what
cans.
I noticed, though, is that they sell us that these cans are full of whatever. Mm-hmm. But in that scene with the old lady... When the lady with the head garb or whatever that was, when those cans fall off that top shelf, they are clearly empty.
Oh, that's movie magic, Matthew.
But then, and also again,
they're like clang.
When you bring that up, has he not gotten the cans? The 10? No, he has. Okay, so
he doesn't have the cans yet.
No
I'll say, but you know what I'm about to go with those.
Because how just
for sure
when they fall, like 7 of them fall together
at the end of the register.
Sorry. I prematurely canned. Sorry, guys.
It won't be the first.
It's understandable.
Won't be the last. He's got the guns. He decides for himself, I should not be having this gun. He goes back to deliver it, and he starts saying, "Don't play with guns." And he's like pointing it at his head. He's waving it around. And he says, "For your health, cowboy."
And then he pops.
Oh, he puts it back in the holster and then shoots another.
But shoots the guard, and she just kind of like.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to need a minute to take a break. So he goes and he gets a can and he starts eating horse meat directly from a can. And in his mind, he's thinking about Daisy. He's thinking about the hunk chip. He's putting all this stuff together. He's like, I'd love to get a promotion. How am I going to help this young boy Charlie?
Right.
All these things.
He's got a number of quandaries that he has to figure out. Mm-hmm. He's by himself. There's a lot of whispering into himself, throughout.
Yeah, he's really presenting all of his problems and getting ready to tie up all these loose ends. Brule then makes his way back to the butcher's hutch. Now, you guys can help me out with this.
Dark twist.
This turns very dark.
Yeah.
Now, is the guy back there, the butcher, is his name Brom or is it
Brown?
Brown.
I heard Brown.
Okay. So
he has no eyebrows. That's the creepiest.
Is there a connection with that in the can, the brown food can?
Maybe. I think all these things are connected on some cosmic level, and you're picking up on a lot of it. He goes back there, and it's a typical-looking guy. It's an old guy, probably 55 years old. And he's wearing all white, wearing the typical white butcher outfit, and he's got, like, blood on it. But, again, the man is very odd-looking himself.
Well, he has no eyebrows.
It's his brother. Should we add that a lot of these folks were in the original scene that Pablo Myers is introducing?
No, that's not his brother.
That's not his brother?
That's not Pablo Myers' brother because...
In the opening Christmas scene?
No.
I thought some of those guys made it into
he had eyebrows. Those eyebrows are...
Okay.
But you're right. This does get very dark here. Brown has Charlie, the boy who stole the candy, Daisy's younger brother. He's got him like handcuffed or like tied up in tape and hanging on a hook, like a piece of meat.
A kid.
And I imagine that Brown will be slicing up this boy.
Oh, that's what he wants to do.
Moments later,
they
he
talk
confirms
about it. Yeah.
Myers super, and then it goes to a commercial. It reveals Charlie hanging there, and then it kind of fades out to a commercial for Myers Superfoods and Toad's brand chipped beef and whipped bacon. At the end, he says, "I am a Myers man."
Right. Oh,
so
bacon.
Weird.
Yeah,
so weird.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, Brown, admits there that he wants to, cut him up and, for the joy of killing. Not for the meat, but for the joy of killing.
Says,
it's dark.
I'll cut him, gut him, quarter him, and sell him as horse meat. How dark is this?
How old was the kid in real life? This
8?
is what I want to know. In real life, you think he's 8?
I bet the kid. Yeah, I bet he's 8 to 10. Yeah.
What parent signs off on that?
Awful parents.
Parents that want to make some money.
He does want Brown. He enjoys killing. He enjoys killing. He made it very clear. There's no bones about it. And again, Dr. Stephen Brule isn't pulling out what weird, bizarre hair he has left. He is fully accepting what Brown is saying. But at the same time, he understands the mortality issue with Charlie and says, you know what? How about I give you... they do some bizarre negotiating.
Yes.
And Steve Brule's way off, and he says, yes, I'll take 25 cans to free Charlie.
It goes up. Yeah, he bargains down. And
he
then
starts at 20.
Right.
And then Brown says 15, and he's like, 25.
And then the security guard comes in, and he seemingly has no reason to shoot anyone, but he attempts to shoot someone.
With no bullets.
But he's got no bullets.
Yeah, he just walks in and points at him and very calmly pulls the trigger a few times.
Well, when you've been a security guard for that long...
And been asleep for that long.
Cool, calm, and collective. You know what to do in stressful situations.
You have a powerful weapon strapped to your waist for years and years, and if you don't use it, you want to use it eventually.
Oh, yeah.
You want to use it.
It's a perishable skill.
Mm-hmm.
Brule walks Charlie out after saving him from Brown, and he's kind of teaching him a lesson about stealing.
He keeps calling him boy.
Yeah. It's a good-looking boy.
Again, a little bit Chester.
He takes him outside, and he's like... that Dangus Chip keeps messing with Daisy. And he's like, "Don't worry, Steve. Mr. Brule, I'll put in a good word for you."
And then he kisses him.
Yeah,
I think there is on the head. Is it on the head?
Yeah.
He says, "I'd like creamed chip." He's like, he would rather Brown kill this hunk. Yeah, he's like Charlie was help with Daisy, and he hugs the boy, and it just again more kissing him on the head. And he says. So glad I got a good friend name of Charlie. Next scene, we got Doug Prishpreed back. He's in a lot of the scenes, kind of in the background.
Yeah,
he was on the monitor once too.
Yeah,
right?
He puts the can so close to his face because supposedly he likes to read the ingredients.
And Mr. Myer says, "You know what, Steve? For what you did, I'm going to give you 10 cans just for helping out with this shoplifting situation.
Just for staying all night.
They're damaged, but I'm going to give them to you." And then Mr. Myers walks to the back, and Prishpreed's eyes are glued to the can. And Mr. Myers says, "Thank you for being a loyal customer of Myers Superfood Mart." Kisses him.
It's contagious.
Kissing creepy. Contagious. Scott Clam, the manager, hands Steve's all the damaged cans, and they kind of fall over. And this is I think what you were talking about earlier, where you're saying they appear, they're obviously empty and like almost string together.
Right. There's a few of them.
It ties together a thought later that we'll talk about why the pilot didn't make it.
Okay.
But I will mention
because the cans didn't fall correctly.
Could be.
Hey, these cans are empty. I'm not watching this fucking thing.
Canceled.
Mr. Myers, Pablo Myers, had said in that break room that they would not be damaged cans.
Oh, okay.
Well, but he was talking about when they find the shoplifter.
But that wasn't done.
This was just an extra 10 cans.
A kind gesture.
Because he worked overnight.
Fair enough.
Charlie is in the store with his mother. They're shopping. And him and Stephen Brule start speaking to each other telepathically for some reason.
It was so creepy.
There is no, no context for this. There's no reason they should have been speaking telepathically, but they were.
The creepiness got ramped up a bit.
My favorite part of the conversation is the pew pew. Pew,
yeah,
pew,
they
pew.
keep talking. It's almost like they're talking on like walkie-talkies in and out, but when they say over and out, they pew-pew each other. It's very bizarre, and he's like saying, you know what, I'll put in a good word with Daisy, my sister. I'll put in a good word with my mom. You can be my new dad.
Yeah, he's like, your mom's really pretty. I wouldn't mind being your dad.
I'll see if I have the time.
Right.
The credits roll, and at the end, you got Mr. Myers coming up behind Chip there, and they say, Chip, you're late for work. Your rear is going to be cherry red. I'm going to be spanking it. This is an employer physically beating about the buttocks.
There's
one
a lot
of
of spanking, just like with
it's private. No, it's privately owned. I don't think that's an issue.
They're not incorporated?
No.
Just like Boo Boo Goes Wild, this is an ass-centric pilot. Mm-hmm. Brule's kind of peeking out from behind a shelf saying, don't be a turkey for your health.
And then it just stays on that shot of him behind the shelf, awkwardly waiting.
Masters of hanging on too long for the effect of weirdness, and it works.
It did well.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Got mixed feelings on this. Turbulence, the section where we discuss why the pilot didn't work. This is coming off as a special. This is like it's an Adult Swim special, but within the universe of Stephen Brule, it's a pilot that failed. I don't know. Do we want to look at this, why it failed through the eyes of our reality or through their reality?
I think my vote would be theirs.
Okay.
I'm not sure this was
supposed to be.
Right.
It wasn't supposed to be a series. It was a meta pilot for Steve Brule.
Yeah.
And it was never intended to keep going, I don't think.
I first thought if this was in our reality a pilot that they meant for it to go further, then they had no budget whatsoever. Just the cans came to mind. I'm like, oh, okay. But then they started playing up that the cans are empty. And then they start, that kind of thing. So
yeah. So why don't you think? So if you're thinking about this, the reality of where Stephen Brule lives, why don't you think it worked? Just budget?
Oh, through his reality?
Oh, is that how we're judging this?
It is, but it's hard to.
He's a horrible director.
Come back to me.
Yeah, there was some issues with the editor, whoever was editing this.
Yeah, there. I mean, if we're looking at through that reality, then I mean, obviously in our reality, it's supposed to be that way.
Poor acting.
Poor casting is, I guess, what I.
I think the casting was great. I think the intentional or unintentional horrible talent of acting that some of these guys, someone wouldn't even be looking him in the eyes. They would just be saying their lines.
In their world or our world?
Their world.
Okay.
In their world, in the interesting facts section, we mentioned that the pilot was rejected by Channel 5, which is the channel which
the parent network.
This whole thing's a big fucking meta mess, right? All right, we can't judge this on Turbulence because it was the way it was supposed to be viewed by me sitting on my couch. It's exactly what it was supposed to be viewed by the way.
And Jay, forgive me if you're about to ask this, but if it was brought into the quote-unquote real world, could they have made a second? I would have watched another episode of it.
A lot of times, and I think it's kind of an easy out for couch pilots to say, if something was on Adult Swim and we run it through the Adult Swim filter by being ironic and like ramping up the absurdity, it could last in that format. But this was on Adult Swim.
Right.
I think this could last in a format of 12 minutes. It's almost overkill. This being a special and they dragging it out for 25, 30 minutes, whatever it was, they can exist in that one episode. But the week after week, time after time, it's too much. It's concentrated Tim and Eric I don't know if I can keep that pace week after week for a half hour at a time. 12-minute interludes are probably where this would fit best if it were to continue, if it was ever supposed to continue, which I don't think it was. But in that reality, again, this is a new territory for Couch Pilots. They said it was substandard quality and low entertainment value. That's what they said in their world. The
same network that will flash the blue screen because they lose one of their anchors, or Steve Brule's not ready.
Yeah.
On and on.
I don't know if it had survived. I think you would just have the adventures of different people coming in and out all the time. If I'd improve it, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. It's such a bizarre. This would be good. It's such a bizarre thing. Let's see what people from around the world had to say about Bagboy.
Around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Captain Wrestler, last week, I'm pretty positive you cheated.
No.
You guessed right on.
I guessed right on. I did not.
Well, that's very impressive then. This week.
Repressive? Or are you trying to hold me back?
That's very repressive. I'm going to keep you from
owning land
and voting. What was the IMDb score? Would you like to take a guess for this for Bagboy? Matthew?
I think he's using my number though.
8.2.
Yeah, 8.6.
8.6. You guys are totally on the right track. It's at a 9.0.
Wow.
I would say hands down, this is the highest rated pilot we've ever done. And you know what? Sometimes you get like a really solid score from low number ratings. This is 134, which is not a ton. We've seen a lot more.
Sure.
But from 134 to maintain a 9, that's pretty incredible.
That's pretty high.
Critic reviews. After its premiere, Dan Caffrey of the AV Club gave it an A- grade, writing that, while not as nightmarish as Heidecker and Wareheim's other works for the network, it would attract comparisons to the horror comedy short Too Many Cooks, and we can talk about that in a moment, which also aired on Adult Swim. He remarked the acting as a perfect mixture of those who are self-aware and those who are sincere, contrasting what he saw as sincere efforts from the Perificy cast to Reilly, who knows how to match the stiltedness of every misfit who walks on camera. The younger actors playing the cashier and Chip seem to know what's going on as well. Mm-hmm. So he liked it.
Sure.
Fair assessment. Too Many Cooks? You guys know Too Many Cooks?
No.
Haven't seen it.
This is not a pilot. We won't be doing this on Couch Pilots, but I would invite each of you to watch Too Many Cooks. A wildly bizarre thing that was... it was not represented as a show on Adult Swim. They said it was like paid programming, and then they showed this very bizarre 12-minute like intro to a show. It is very bizarre. I would invite both of you to check out Too Many Cooks.
Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
Did I hope to
see you there.
Now,
was
Matt,
the description horror though? I'm sorry.
We're going to do this at his house. He invited us to it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, come over right after this. Horror comedy.
Comedy.
And Too Many Cooks is absolutely that. 12 minutes of just insanity. Check it out. Well, we can talk about that later. As far as critic reviews, other ones go, writing in The Den of Geek, Daniel Curlard rated a 3.5 out of 5 stars, complimenting that the world building of Brule's universe, while expressing that it was not the best thing Tim and Eric have put out recently, yet still expertly assembled and conveys what it's trying to do. Melissa Locker of Vanity Fair called the situational humor and subtlety of it knockout hilarious, and for those who get it, but concluded that truthfully it's not for everyone.
No.
Which is very fair and obvious.
That's not a reach, yeah.
In an essay for the LA Review of Books entitled I Want My Anti-TV, a play on I Want My MTV, on Tim and Eric, Gavin Thompson called it an anti-TV experiment that, in line with typical sitcoms, was produced to be boring, moralizing, heteronormative, and not that funny, calling Brule's fantasies emotionally stunted yet oddly normative.
Oh, wow. That was heavy.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of words I don't
deep.
know.
I would never say half of those words normally. Viewer reviews. The jingle is awesome, but that's it. 4 out of 10 stars. I thought a lot of it was awesome.
Yeah.
Bagboy, 23-minute live action, blah, 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 blah. Let's skip to the end. So, yeah, that's all I can say about this one we have here. I'm a bit disappointed because I like Reilly usually, but he is also only as good as the material / people that he is working with, and this is not a top-notch a thing for sure. I give it a thumbs down.
Snob.
And
there's a difference between John C. Reilly as Stephen Brule and John C. Reilly in Talladega Nights.
Sure.
And you
or
have
Step Brothers or something like that.
You have to know that there's a difference. Yep. You have to know that.
I'd say he's in his element in these. These are
much more
well done.
Much more.
I've heard an interview with John C. Reilly.
Exactly.
And I've heard I've some others doing the scouring that I do for the show. I also found someone else that references as well. But John C. Reilly talks about Stephen Brule as if he is a separate person.
Sure.
He will not acknowledge that he is Stephen Brule. He talks about it like it's completely separate, which I think is an odd
actor's quirk.
Yes, I think John C. Reilly is bizarre that way, and that's his method for acting. Maybe not for every character that he plays, but for this one specifically, he writes him off as a totally different person, which is bizarre to do. But that's what people have had to say. Now I think it's time for you and I, all of the three of us rather, to have our say.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
We're landing the plane. We did it. We did it, guys. We well bantered. Done. Thank you. And well done to you.
Wow.
We gave you the interesting facts.
You're too kind.
We put you back in the mind frame. Kind. I'm too kind, but damn it if I don't rewind. Damn it if
Please
I don't
rewind.
Damn it. Walk right over the top of me. Good on you. The one funny thing I've said in the last 4 hours, and you beat me to it. Good on you,
We broke down the pilot. We even gave you a commercial for another show on the network. Now it's time to take all this information. You internalize it. You push on it. You give it so much pressure that it turns from coal into a diamond. And then
shine bright like a diamond.
Just like Rihanna once said. And you bring that diamond out and you hold it up to the light. And the light represents a prism, and it puts on the wall a number.
Not the cube.
The
Rubik's Cube.
No.
The crystal cube.
Yeah, not the crystal cube.
No.
Okay. A prism is different than a cube, right? Okay.
Whew. Taken from the scale set forth by the Couch Pilots, 1 to 7 from the classic TV show Wings from the 1990s. We take a look at all the characters and we give them a number. We say, Roy Biggins, you're the worst.
Ugh.
You're the worst score you can get. You're a number 1.
Sweaty fucking pig.
Number 2 is a Faye Cochran.
So much anger.
Number 3 is an Antonio Scarpacci. Number 4, Monk himself, Tony Shalhoub. Joe Hackett at number 4, right down the middle. Number 5, friend of the show, Brian Haley as Bud Bronski. Number 6, Helen Chappell. And number 7, the best you can get, freewheeling Bob Dylan style, is Brian Hackett. Captain Philip Ressisher, I turn to you. How do you rate Bagboy?
Going to have me go first. We have a guest here.
Matthew Phillips, second time on the show. I turn to you.
We got a guest here who has a number. Mm-hmm. A number that I clearly have written more than once that involves an amount of money. Why don't you go first? Why don't you go first? Just go first. What is your score for
Matthew Phillips, I turn to you. How do you rate Bagboy?
I have a number, and
go with your gut.
I don't want to I don't want to be that guy because I don't know.
No, you can be that guy. You go with your gut.
I'm full on Brian Hackett.
Wow, at number 7.
Woo! Coming out hot.
I watched it once. I listened to it on the way over just to brush up, right? But I couldn't get enough. Big fan of Steve Brule. Big fan of this world he's created.
Really funny stuff.
Really, really funny. The editing's perfect. 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Good stuff. Philip Ressisher, I await your rating.
There is a buxom blonde bump.
Oh, she's a good-looking broad. She's got that trashy looking.
Oh, yes. There's that Tennessee trashy girlness to her that makes my heart go pitter patter and makes my Metamilk better. It makes my better butter, better bird.
Doug Pushpree.
Better butter, better bird.
Metamilk better.
Butter man.
7s are hard to come by in my book. I've only thrown a handful of skeleton keys out there.
No idea.
Buxom blonde bump. I'm giving it a 6.
Give it a 6.
Strong score.
Wow.
6.5 between us.
I don't know what's going on with this.
Thanks, number guy.
Number man.
I think it happens a lot.
He's a number man. Number man.
He's a clam man.
You can give him 3 numbers and he'll divide them. Give you the average. He'll take away the mean and the... Sorry. It's the mean and the what?
Median.
Median, yeah.
Yeah.
Mean mode.
I think the mean is in the middle.
Median's middle.
Median's middle, and the mean is the average.
Right, and the mode, the highest
Depeche
frequency.
mode. Right?
Deepak
Chopra mode. Philip Ruster, I think it happens a lot more often and like quicker with women. Their cycles will sync.
Oh, yes.
They will take a look at the moon and they say, when the moon looks like that,
lunar,
is when my uterine walls thin out. Mm-hmm. And then other girls will say, I agree with that, and I want it to happen the same time as you.
Right, so we can have something to talk about.
You and I, however, it's taken you and I, a lot longer to sync up, but damn it.
You say Dick and I?
There's no way. This would be the third time tonight.
You and ours dicks have synced up now. And I agree with you.
Our foreskin is
become one.
Your transoms have become one.
We're docking right here.
Transom docking, that's right. We're some handsome transom dockers. Philip Ruster, I agree. This is a number 6.
Well done.
Not a lot of room for improvement. I like the fact that it is a meta pilot.
But you have to get it to get it.
You have to be open to it.
Yes, this has to be your ballywick to receive this properly, and apparently all three of us agree.
I'll take more.
And it is one of the most highest rated shows that we've ever done. I think you, Philip Ruster, and when we had Dustin on before, you guys both gave Super Clyde a number 7, and I gave
2015.
It a 6. Correct.
Yeah.
This show is very funny. If you like this kind of humor, you need to watch this today. This is very funny, very silly, very absurd. There's not a lot of typical jokes in there, but the awkwardness, the cuts on purpose, the directing is all done intelligently and in the vein of absurdity that it is very funny.
Yeah.
Do you think, going back to last episode, Andy Kaufman, year 2016, 2017, 2015, do you think this is the type of stuff we would still be seeing from him?
Mm-hmm. At this point, Andy Kaufman would be 70 years old. Well, okay? No, hold on. No. Follow me on this. I think, and I'm not trying to be a smartass, for real, like, if Andy Kaufman was still alive today, I think he would be one of those guys that, like, a Tim and Eric would
be hanging out with all the fucking time.
Well, they would put him on that wall of, this is our influence.
Right.
This is someone that we respect. And I bet maybe he would pop up once in a while. I doubt he would be like a full-fledged guy who's doing it all the time.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you took Andy Kaufman from 1977 and gave him the abilities that you're giving Tim and Eric, wouldn't he be producing something pretty darn similar?
If he was like the age of these guys.
Right.
The media has shattered since then, right? He had 3 roads to go on in 77. Now there's a million avenues for content. Absolutely.
It's the Wild West.
It's just that oddness, that weirdness, that uncomfortableness, that like the kissing of the kisses on the shoulder.
Yeah.
As over to the antics that you would see Andy Kaufman do.
Yeah.
I think they're similar.
They're kindred spirits.
Exactly. If you take one, put it in the other, I think they're interchangeable. And if you,
all the mainstream things that Andy Kaufman tried to do that didn't work back then, there would be a place for that today.
Adult Swim,
whether it's Adult Swim,
yeah,
or somewhere online, there is a place for Andy Kaufman in this world. Unfortunately, he was maybe a little ahead of his time. He didn't have the proper format to put that out there.
Too serious.
And I think that's why a lot of people idolize him and look to him. Even honestly, I'm only a few months younger than he was when he died. Right now, isn't that weird to think? Wow, all the things he did and all the things I've never done. But with that, we close the door on Bagboy, never to be mentioned again.
Ever!
But we're not done. Won't you join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of Diner? Here's a little something to wet your whistle. The pilot for the TV version of the critically acclaimed feature Diner from 1982 focused on the complaints of the wives Elise and Beth that their husbands were spending too much time hanging at the diner with their friends. You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes. Or go to YouTube.
And you know what to do, Tube.
I'm going to win you over. You're going to love that. By the end of our lives, when they're throwing that last bit of dirt on our coffins, you are going to be.
Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be buried next to each other?
Yeah.
With microphones as our heads. If you go in East Peoria on Meadows, you go all the way up Meadows past the Shell station, right before the bar. On the right hand side, there's a house. And this guy has this big tree stump, right? and he has carved an antique microphone that's taller than us.
Sure. And you want to burn it to the ground, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I want to take that up, uproot it, and put it between us on our plots.
That stretch of meadows has a little bit of everything going on.
Yeah.
Whoever dies first.
You can see a lot of nice real estate and a lot of bad real estate, a lot of bars. It
runs the gamut for sure. Check us out on Facebook. We're Couch Pilots Podcast. Go to Twitter. Follow us there. Couch Pilots Pod. You'll be the first to find out when we reach out to the creators of the show, the actors, the directors, the writers. You'll be the first to find out what they have to say about it. If you have Instagram, check us out at couch_pilots_podcast. If you want to drop us a line, an email, couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to keep track of all the high fives, give us a number on the email. Check out all the different past episodes. We've got like 60 plus episodes at this point. Damn near 70 maybe now.
Right. And and going back and listening to old episodes, first of all, subscribe. Second of all, iTunes only shows, I think, maybe 20.
No, I have iTunes, and they show all of our episodes.
Do they?
Yeah, you can see all of our episodes.
Yeah, so scroll down that and check them out and dive into them. We have a lot of listeners that go back and listen to
archived
episodes, and we appreciate that.
They're all fun. I mean, the pilots aren't always good, but it's always a fun listen. And you might think, oh, I've heard of this one. I want to listen to this one and this one. Check them all out.
Right.
There's something in there for everybody. If you want to give us a call, leave us a voicemail at 910-PILOTS-1. That's 910-745-6871. Leave us a voicemail. We're going to talk about it on the show. We're going to have fun with it. And all these ways that I said you can contact us, you are accumulating flyer points. I cannot say it enough.
Matt.
Yes, sir.
You have collected so many frequent flyer points that you've been on the show twice. Mm-hmm. Your marriage is better because you have all the frequent flyer points.
Quite a bit better.
Everything in your life is the way it needs to be, and it's because of Couch Pilots. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, that's fair. It's probably even better than how I could have said it.
Sure. Well, I mean, when you were in college, studying, cramming for finals.
Sure.
Did you ever think my life is going to be better, not because of this degree?
Yeah.
But because of Couch Pilots and my frequent flyer points.
Yeah. Like you said, I fell backwards into this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was in a spiral in a dark place in my life at the time. I really didn't.
Feels good.
Didn't want to go here, but
that's all right. Okay. It's all right, man. Let it out. Let it out. There's that piece of paper there.
But I'm here now, and I feel pretty good about it.
All right, good. There's
second episode. Oh, the paper.
There's a number on there.
You don't have to give us an answer now.
Blood pressure 116/82.
It's pretty good.
Great blood pressure. Great blood pressure.
Hemoglobin 50.
What's your hemoglobin? What is it?
I tell you what, it's one of the greatest Spider-Man villains of all time. Go to fcfnetwork.com. Check out all the family of shows there. They're all free. They all come out with a good amount of frequency. And there's something there for everyone. It's a lot of fun. And you know what? You know what I'm going to do? Just for the month of February, if you go to fcfnetwork.com, if you listen and try out one of our other shows, you're going to get frequent flyer points that way too.
Yes.
The other shows have not agreed to this. They don't know anything about it. This is something I'm doing personally. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to enter it into the Al Pachinko machine and make sure everyone gets a little extra credit there.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me. Honestly, it was great to be here.
Did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Captain Restisher, anything else you'd like to say to our frequent flyers before you go?
High five.
I don't really want to say anything. I want people to know that pilots are our life. Our listeners are our life. Please tell your friends about this show. Help me in the middle of the day, when I've checked our downloads for the 18th time. Let me see that bump. Let me see that Lori Garcia bump.
That lovely lady bump.
That lovely lady bump. Just tell a friend. Tell people what this show's about. Conrad told Lori about it, and Big Dick T. And if it wasn't for Conrad telling them about it, we wouldn't have had so much interaction and so much fun with them. And so that's what we need. We are a podcast. The only way people are going to find out about us is if an Australian show tells them about us, or our listeners tell other people about it.
Telling a friend really is the best way to spread the word. So if you do enjoy the show, that genuinely,
heard it from a friend
who's built in the back of his songs.
Heard it from another. You've been listening to Couch Pilots.
And with that, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. And we'll sing you next time.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip. And we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.